Welcome to this video where we will explore how learning and decision-making connect in the workplace. First, let's define learning and discuss how it affects decision-making. Learning, in simple terms, is the process by which people gain new knowledge, skills, or behaviors over time. In the context of decision-making, learning helps individuals improve how they process information and make more effective choices. As employees gather experiences and insights, they're more likely to make decisions that align with organizational goals. Without learning, decision-making can be inconsistent or prone to errors. Next, let's talk about different types of knowledge, specifically tacit versus explicit. When we talk about learning, there are two main types of knowledge that people acquire. Explicit knowledge is the type that you can easily just write down and explain to other people, like writing down a manual or a set of instructions. It's structured and it's formal. You can read it and understand it. Tacit knowledge, on the other hand, that's a lot harder to articulate because it's gained through experience and intuition. For example, knowing how to manage a difficult conversation with a problematic customer, that's often based on tacit knowledge. Next, let's discuss the methods of learning in organizations. There are three main ways that people can learn within organizations. First is reinforcement. This involves rewarding desired behaviors and discouraging unwanted ones. It's the classic carrot and stick approach. For example, if you want a donkey to move, you've got two ways to do it. You can coax it with a carrot, a reward, or you can whack it with a stick, which is punishment that encourages it to move. Now, of course, we aren't beating our employees in the workplace, but in organizations, the carrot and stick approach refers to offering rewards to encourage good behavior and punishments like pay decreases, promotions, cutting hours, things like that, to discourage unwanted behaviors. The next method of learning is observation. People often learn by just watching other people. This is why mentorships or internships, co-ops, or shadowing programs are common in organizations and university programs. Employees observe how others handle tasks and situations. And finally, experience. This is simply learning by doing. Trial and error can teach valuable lessons, and people often refine their own decision-making skills based on their past experiences. Now let's talk about key decision-making methods, decisions that are either programmed versus non-programmed. There are two main types of decision-making methods. Programmed decisions, these are the easier ones. They're routine, and they often involve established guidelines. These are the decisions that we just make on autopilot, and a lot of times you don't even think about it or realize you're making decisions because they follow a set process, like approving a routine expense report. Non-programmed decisions, on the other hand, they require much deeper thinking, and they're used for complex or unfamiliar problems. For example, figuring out how to navigate a major crisis, like in 2020 with COVID-19, that's an example of a non-programmed decision-making process. You're encountering something new and you gotta figure it out. Next, let's talk about some decision-making problems. Now, unfortunately, learning doesn't always lead to good decisions. There are several decision-making problems that can get in the way. One is limited information. This includes bounded rationality and satisficing. We often don't have all the information that we really need to make perfect decisions, so we satisfice, meaning we make decisions that are good enough rather than optimal. Another mistake is faulty perceptions. This includes biases such as selective perception. That's when we see only what we expect to see. Or projection bias, believing other people just think the same way we do. Social identity theory and stereotyping also can distort our view of situations. Faulty attributions. These are errors in how we assign causes to people's behavior. The fundamental attribution error leads us to blame individuals for their actions while overlooking situational factors. Whereas on the flip side, we tend to give ourselves more benefit of the doubt. And that is self-serving bias. That is where we credit ourselves for our successes, but we blame external factors for our failures. Escalation of commitment. Sometimes people continue investing in poor decisions because they've already put in a significant amount of time or resources, even when it's clear they should change course. It's like digging a hole, and instead of admitting you shouldn't be digging the hole and get out while you can, you just keep digging deeper. Now let's talk about how learning affects job satisfaction and commitment. Learning has a moderate positive effect on job performance because employees who are skilled and knowledgeable are better equipped to perform their roles. However, learning's effect on organizational commitment, it's positive, but it's weak. This means that while learning improves performance, it doesn't have a strong influence on how committed employees feel toward their organization. In other words, learning can make someone more effective at their job, but it doesn't always necessarily make them more loyal to their company.